what's up? This your boy XV coming through with another episode of the X Vision Files. And in the files today, man, I got a very interesting story that I ran across on TikTok, man. It was very, very interesting. And I just thought I'd share it with y'all. And, you know, y'all tell me what y'all think, man, because, boy, Antarctica is a hell of a place. That's all I got to say. Antarctica is a hell of a place, man. And I never been over there, so ain't no telling what's over there. But without further ado, man, let me let y'all hear this, man. I'm going to let the whole thing play, and then I'm going to come back at the end.
But the Navy SEALs, they went into a submarine, and they said they went really deep under Antarctica. Way up in there, he said. And then he said there was a cave in there. The submarine was able to go way up inside the cave, going deeply up underneath Antarctica. He said, and then they were able to dock at this place. It was hollow where you could come up. He said then the SEAL team, they took these men there with them, and they traveled about 2 miles up into the cave. They were to explore to see what was up in there. And as I was being told about this, the admiral that was the leader of this group, I believe he's an admiral, I don't know exactly his rank, could have been a lieutenant colonel, but from the way it was described to me, it sounded more like a rear admiral. I didn't know, maybe so, but you got to remember, he spent his whole life, 20 years in the Navy, so he could have been that high of a rank. Don't know for sure if he's rear admiral or a lieutenant colonel or what he was, but at any rate, he'd had a dream the night before, and he said that this lady had come to him before and warned him about things. And he said that night before, he said she's never been wrong about what would happen. He kind of felt like she was a guardian angel to him. He said, but she warned him and said, you're going to encounter beings inside of here, the likes you've never seen in your life. And she told him, what you're carrying will not stop them. And so she instructed him that he should take in a type of explosive type of round that would be used in a weapon that when it would hit a human body, the human body would just explode. He said, you wouldn't have to hit a human one time, they're done. And he said the men the next morning, they didn't like the idea, but they obeyed him, and they took it, he said, because the weight of everything was much heavier than normal. He said they went up through that cave, and he said, of course, it's not like a little cave. He said you could take 6 men and stretch out hand to hand and still not touch the sides of it. It was so massive. And he said he'd always noticed when he would go about 2 miles, anytime he ever went somewhere exploring up in Antarctica, he'd go about 2 miles, he said that's when you run into some crazy things. And he said, we got in there about 2 miles in. He said, just as you're starting to go up a little incline there, he said, and suddenly these alien beings come out. He said, you could make out their faces. They had a kind of you could see their faces and stuff. You see their head. He said, but their bodies were like fire. And I kind of put an image up here just for the sake of an image, as well as, you know, this image here about this was a different story altogether. Some Navy SEALs going into some other kind of cave or something like that. I just kind of put it there for a reference. But when he talked about them, he said that they had bodies that were kind of like fire. And he said he didn't have to tell his men. They were so terrified of these beings here, they began to engage in battle with them. And he said when you shot them with one of these explosive rounds, they didn't go down. He said, but they got angrier and angrier. And he said they said their faces would get redder, and these bodies of fire and stuff. He said it'd take about 3 or 4 shots to take one of them down. He said, and somehow or another, they were attacking them. And of course, he said, before this all started, he said they were speaking with like a telepathy, threatening them that they were going to kill them. This is one of the reasons why they engaged in battle, and at the same time trying to retreat because they were so terrified of these beings. And he said they began to take them down with these bullets that they were shooting. He said, but they were being so severely wounded, and he said they didn't even know what they were hitting them with. He said, but when they did retreat out of there, he said it didn't lose any of the men. He said, but they had broken bones, broken ribs, bruised organs. And he said, we had heavy flight jackets, everything on the body armor we were wearing, and still we were suffering tremendous damage to the.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's crazy right there. That's crazy. The reason I stopped it because that's like the end of the video. It kind of like stopped abruptly. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I paused it like that, so it won't catch the tail end of the rest of that, that content or whatever. But anyway, man, did y'all hear that, man? That is crazy right there. That's crazy, dog. Can you imagine can you imagine going to Antarctica, you deep dive, and then you dock, and then you deep dive now, and then you go up under a mountain or whatever the case may be, and you end up in a cave, and you dock, you know what I'm saying? And then you get out, and then you seeing people walking around looking like that. Can you imagine that, man? That is crazy right there, man. I don't know, man. They were fallen angels, aliens, or a whole different entity that we don't know about. That's crazy right there to see something like that. And they said they had explosive rounds. And they said they had to shoot one of them like 4 times to take it down. That was crazy. It seemed like none of them ain't lost their life. That's good, Thank God for that. But they left injured. But if that is true, that'd be that's crazy right there. But you know what I'm saying? But the way how the guy explained it, it don't sound like it don't sound like a lie. It sound like, because remember he's third party. Somebody told him and he's telling us. So it's like, I don't like the way he's saying it. It might sound like it might be true because, like I said, you never know what's in Antarctica. You never know what's in Antarctica, man. That's why it's restricted over there. You feel what I'm saying? It's like I said, I'm not saying it's hard to get over there, but it's restricted over there. And I can see why, because if you got things walking around like that over there, that's crazy. And he say when you walk like 2 miles into Antarctica, you gonna start seeing some weird, crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? I can believe that. Because where you got like lands and areas where the population really don't dwell at, yeah, it's some crazy ass shit over there. You feel me? But anyway, man, I just thought I'd let y'all hear that story right there, just in case y'all ain't heard it, you know what I'm saying? I just thought y'all hear that, because that was crazy right there, man. When I first heard it, I was like, wow, that is crazy, man. I'll be terrified, too, to see something like that. But anyway, man, more content coming through. This your boy XV. Came through with another episode of the X Vision Files. And y'all stay blessed, man.
Got the bro, I heard the big got him. That 8 flowing the gun, got on the yellow band. About to give mama a stroke. Don't need a ambulance, baby mama.